How's it going, people? Welcome back to my channel. Obviously the mood has kind of changed or swayed over the last few days over the weekend because of that massive news that we seem to be favourites for Nicolas Pepe. I obviously done a video the other day about it. I can't lie to you, if we was to get him, that is a very big player and it looks very expensive, so it falls in line with Josh Kroenke's "Be Excited" and Unai Emery's post-match comments in the US. But yeah, I'm just waiting for it to just get over the line. I'm just waiting to hear the news, breaking news. Arsenal signed Nicolas Pepe from Lille on a 5-year, 6-year, whatever year deal. I just can't wait because that is someone we definitely need. It was my #1 target going into the summer. I remember I'd done a few videos before the Europa League final where I grouped some attackers, grouped some midfielders and grouped some defenders that I'd like to see at least some interest in over the summer, if not getting one of each in. And primarily for the wings, Nicolas Pepe, I've been screaming his name from January. So to see us so close to him, to see us actually in the mix for him, to hear our name around his at this present time, after the summer we've had, after the long wait, after the news of Zaha bids and Tierney bids and Carrasco's and Joachim Anderson, Dennis Pratt's, all of these rumours that have failed to really get over the line. All of a sudden, Nicolas Pepe has shot to the forefront, and I'm going to reiterate, I can't lie, if we sign him, I'm going to be very, very happy. Now, one thing I've got to mention is obviously a lot of the fan base, and even me to a certain extent, rightfully so, were worried that the defense is still a big problem, as it has been over the last decade. I can't lie to you, the defense being a problem isn't anything new. It's just something that we failed to really address properly for a long time. Easier said than done when you look around the current market and you look at the players available, but there is a worry there, even with Nicolas Pepe coming in, that unless we outscore teams defensively, especially in the tighter games and the bigger games, we might be found wanting. So we'll have to see if if we do anything regarding the defense in the next week and a half. We'll have to see if Nicolas Pepe gets over the line before we can truly judge this transfer window. But I'm very happy with this name. Do you know what I mean? With this Nicolas Pepe. The way I look at it is, although our defence has been a problem for, like I said, a decade, our defence has been a problem, full stop. I can't even put it back to a date where I remember this is when it became a problem. It's been a problem. It's been an issue. I haven't seen us with a good defence since the good old days, let's be honest. So, looking at the end of the season, even though our defence is a major worry, I put the wings up there with them as one of the primary reasons why we didn't succeed last season in achieving Champions League football. A lot of people might be like, no, defence first. And I understand it, because it's something we've needed for so long, because it's something we've lacked for so long, a good defence. And when you look over at Liverpool, who with one or two solid big signings at the back, they've completely transformed the club. They've completely transformed their expectations, their hopes, their ambition. So when we look at that, we obviously are trying to kind of follow that route and ideally bring in that centre-back that has the same impact that Van Dijk had at Liverpool. It's just that how many Van Dijks are there around? When you look around the market, the central defence it's a risk right now. There isn't many certified names out there. RB Leipzig, obviously, have two of them, young centre-backs, but I would happily take one of them, happily, especially the fact that we need one this summer, and especially that when you look at the signings, when you look at the shape of the squad now, there's a lot of good young talent there, whether it's from the youth ranks or whether it's some we brought in, like the Guendouzi, like Martinelli. We've got some good young players there. I just want someone a bit more established to be at the middle of our defence, someone established but also experienced and has their best playing days ahead of them. So it is very difficult to fill in that gap at present. But like I said, I believe the wings are just as big of an issue as the defence. When you look at last year, defence was a shambles, and I know a lot of people are going to say to me, but we scored the third most in the league, and that is facts. That's factual. That's a factual statement. We did score the third amount in the league, some way off Liverpool and Man City. But my thing is, it was very easy to defend Arsenal at times last season. Let's not forget, although we came close to top four, and although we came close to the Europa League trophy and Champions League qualification through there were so many games last season where we failed to control and we rolled our luck, and in very tight games that we won due to more often than not Aubameyang and Lacazette. So adding width is very important. It's integral right now, because it was very easy at points last season for teams to defend against us, to stifle us. There were so many games where we as Arsenal fans were bored watching it, because we just couldn't break down. We couldn't break down some teams, especially the teams that want to sit back against us and go for a draw, or go for a counter, or go and take their opportunities, because all the teams know defensively we are some way behind the rest of the top six, in my opinion. Well, us and Man United. So Nicolas Pepe, I'm definitely happy with. He's someone that's going to complement Aubameyang and Lacazette very well. Someone that's going to complement the team very well, and an out-and-out winger. And when I say out-and-out winger, I know he likes to cut in from the right, but to me, that's a modern-day out-and-out winger. Either you put Reiss Nelson on the right, who bombs down straight down the right-hand side, or you put a Nicolas Pepe who likes to cut in and cause damage on the inside, because he is much stronger on his left foot. Takes a lot of shots, causes a lot of problems, and essentially he will take away a lot of attention from Aubameyang and Lacazette. That was the whole. That's the whole point of last season's defending us. We knew, and other teams knew, that Aubameyang and Lacazette were the focal point in our attack. We didn't really have much behind them to worry about. So if you can stifle them too, if you can get in between their partnership, then more often than not, you're going to stifle our output, you're going to stifle the goals, and you're going to stifle us as a team. So although we did score the third amount last season, there's still some work to be done there. Centre-back wise, we lack quality, and we've got a whole lot of dead wood there. Whereas winger-wise, we don't have no wingers. We didn't have no wingers last season. No one I can say is an out-and-out winger. Although we probably came the closest to it. But again, in my opinion, he's not a winger. He's not a number 10 either. I'm not sure what he is, but I'm just happy to get a winger in. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, Nicolas Pepe, let's just get this over the line. I can't wait to just see it over the line. Don't get me wrong, there could still be egg on my face. There could be still egg on everyone's faces in a couple of days, because you know the transfer market, you know Arsenal Football Club. It's not all cut and dry, so we'll just have to take it as it comes and just patiently wait over the next couple of days. I'm just happy. The aura has changed a bit in terms of transfers. Tired of hearing about these names that we've been linked to from the end of the season. Finally, some movement. Finally, we've got a couple players in. Well, I say in. Saliba's going back on loan. Ceballos is in now. We saw a glimpse of him in the Emirates Cup. Very good on the ball, technical, composed. And between him and Reiss Nelson caused some problems. I didn't go to the game myself because I didn't want to. If we had signed Pepe in advance, then I probably would have gone just to see him out there, get the first glimpse. But I don't believe we've done enough in the transfer window for me to go spend my, whatever it is, £20-25. I know it's cheap on the Emirates Cup. I didn't really care, and I don't care. The season needs to start. That's when it matters. Obviously, we've got a couple more friendlies before. I think Angers on Wednesday and a Barcelona coming up before the season starts. We can't really pay much attention to these friendlies, you know. I mean, look, Liverpool just got banged 3-0 by Napoli, I think. But best believe they're going to be raring to go when the season starts. So, as Arsenal fans, as football fans, we shouldn't pay too much mind to the pre-season. That's just when, in my opinion, the biggest and best teams kind of have a laid-back approach and want to ensure their fitness for the season, whereas teams like maybe us and teams that haven't really fulfilled expectations in the last few years or however many, they're going out to prove themselves. And I believe that a lot of Arsenal's results this pre-season has been because we've been more on the ball and we've been more on it than the opposing teams. Which is nothing against them. We have to do a job. But Newcastle away is where it really starts, where it really counts. So ideally, we need to get Nicolas Pepe in as soon as possible to get him ready for that game, to get some training sessions under their belt, to get maybe a pre-season friendly out the way with our new shape or structure that Emery wants to implement. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday the Emirates Cup obviously highlighted the defensive flaws we have. Mustafi got a lot of stick, and my thing is, I know a lot of people are saying, "Why are you booing him? It's disgusting and this and that." Listen, I'm not a guy that boos. Believe me, I throw abuse when I need to throw abuse, but I just don't boo and boo and boo. It's just there has to be more substance to it. But I understand it. I understand why he's getting booed. And at the end of the day, people can say it's disgusting. People can say look down on it. But we as fans have got to make our feelings heard some way. So if it's through that channel, it's through that channel. He's not being booed for no reason. Like, let's get this straight. He's being booed because of his performances over the last few years and his lack of care on social media. Like, he's been an embarrassment in the backline for the last few years at Arsenal Football Club, but it doesn't seem to wane him off the social media. He's still dancing around in his pants on social media. He's still doing singing and living a great life. And I'm not saying don't live a great life, but when you're performing like you've been performing at your football club, and that could be Arsenal, that could be Manchester United with Lingard, that could be any team with any of these players that love a bit of social media. When you're performing badly, it's like rubbing salt in the wounds. It's like a slap in the face to fans to see you after the game or see you in midweek, like just laughing and jolly, just taking the piss, back on top. Like, come on, just shut the fuck up for a few weeks, shut the fuck up for a few months and get back on the ball. And maybe then people will care about you in your own personal life and social media and enjoy it a bit more. But on the weekend, if you're fucking about for the club we love, and then in the week you're doing snaps and stories about how just smiling and laughing with Ozil or whoever it is, it just doesn't bode well. It just doesn't bode well. And I know everyone's going to say to me, oh, they've got lives too. And yes, they've got lives too. I've got a life too. You've got a life too. But at the end of the day, their lives are in the public eye. Their lives are just laid out for us to see. And if you're not performing for the club we love, for the club we spend money on, then we have a right to call you out on some things. So again, the booing is something that I personally don't really do much, unless they really deserve it. But I'm all for it. We've got to make our voices heard. It won't just stop at Mustafi, in my opinion, because there's going to be other players that have consistent mistakes in them that we'll see again this season, and I'm sure they're going to be whatever you want to call it, victimized, abused throughout the course of this season. But without highlighting how us fans feel, especially on a match day, there's very little we can do to speak up. So things like that are necessary to change. We don't owe Mustafi anything. So I just want our fans to just accept the booing for what it is. If you don't agree with it, don't agree with it. But all this is disgusting. All this, it's disgraceful. All this, like, don't go to the match if you're gonna boo. Like, who are you to tell anyone anything like that? At the end of the day, even when I was in the Wenger out period, I never used to comment on people that wanted Wenger in and say don't come to matches and don't do this and don't do that. It's an opinion at the end of the day. It's your voice. It's up to you to be heard or not. Just because I don't agree with the content coming out doesn't mean that you're a disgrace, doesn't mean that you're embarrassing, doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. So if I can see it like that, why can't other fans? Other fans need to understand that our voices need to be heard. This is a crucial time for Arsenal Football Club. And look, defensively, we was a shambles again yesterday. So it's not like much has changed there. As much as Nicolas Pepe has fans gassed a bit off their seats, defensively, you know how it can really change in an instant. Do you know what I mean? We could sign Nicolas Pepe, we could be gassed for Newcastle away, we can go and he could score the first goal of the match, and then we could go on to lose 2-1 because of our defence. So it just really, it's a balancing act for Arsenal fans now. But it's also about understanding that we're not going to fix all problems at once this summer, and I've always maintained that. This is not a flip-flop. Look at my videos earlier on in the summer. We was never going to sort every position out. The two I really wanted to sort out was centre-back and the wings. With Nicolas Pepe, the wing will be centre-back. Difficult. We are linked with Daniele Rugani at Juventus, but with him, I just don't believe he's good enough. I believe they bought him in the hope that he would be a first-team member in a few years. I think they bought him off Empoli. Had a solid season there, played every single game, but since then, He hasn't played more than, I think, 21 games in a season for Juventus. Last season, played a handful, about 10 games. So, really and truly, it just looks like he's not needed there no more. Do we get a player that's not needed at one of the clubs that we're trying to get to their level? I don't believe it's the best way, especially considering, look, first things first, Juventus' defence, Bonucci and Chiellini, that's always going to be hard to break through. But this summer, what they've done is brought in De Ligt for a decent price as well. And that just goes to show you, if we was in Champions League, if we was a few years ahead of ourselves right now, we could have signed that. We could have signed De Ligt. But you know what, let's not even think about that because we are far off that level right now. But they also brought in a young Turkish centre-back, Merih Demiral, and 21 years of age. He looks like a monster. He looks solid. So the fact Juve brought in two very young centre-backs on top of Bonucci and Chiellini and are looking to let Rugani go, I just don't believe it's the one we should go for. We should have gone for Demiral. Nice cheap option there with bags of potential. Turkish, heart, strength, determination, and he'd feel right at home in North London. But we didn't. Do we go for their fifth choice centre-back? Not in my opinion. Like, it's not the best way to go about things. And while we're on Juve, Sami Khedira, all the headlines are he was at the Emirates Cup yesterday. Do I look into it too much? No, not really. He is probably talking to a few English clubs. I think he has a year left at Juve. But I'd be very disappointed if it's us that eventually come out and get him because, again, it's like one of them few years too late signings. It's like when we was linked to Higuain year on year, Lacazette year on year. Khedira was another one who was linked year on year, and it just didn't happen. Went from Real to Juve, and at Juve, he was integral for a couple of seasons, but has slowly fallen off and played less and less games. And in my opinion, he just isn't built for the Premier League right now. You know, someone in the back end of their career, someone who's been at the top, someone who's won the World Cup, played for Real Madrid, played for Juventus. I don't believe the challenge at Arsenal is for him. The challenge at Arsenal is for hungry players, ready to prove themselves, ready to give it all 100% in one of the toughest leagues in the world and one of the top two leagues in the world. Bringing in someone like Khedira, yeah, you could look at it as a Lichtsteiner signing, coming in with experience and coming in to put an arm around the younger players' shoulders. But we can all debate whether Lichtsteiner coming in last summer had an impact for Bellerin. I believe it did mentally, because mentally Lichtsteiner solid, and someone who's been through it all, and I believe that helped Bellerin improve early on before his injury. Whereas with Sami Khedira, I just don't believe he was ever good enough or is good enough to put an arm around anyone's shoulder. When I look at the team now, could he put his arm around Xhaka's shoulder and teach him? I don't think so. Xhaka's problem is he's not mobile enough. He's too one-footed and he's just prone to mistakes. Khedira, and he's at an age now where he's not really going to learn any more lessons. He is who he is. He does what he does. He's not going to become the finished article, I'm telling you. Like, these players by now, by the age of 25, 26, all these little mistakes, all these consistent errors, consistent lapses of judgment and concentration really need to be erased. But it hasn't been. So with Sami Khedira, I'd much rather not go for him, save the money or whatever it is in the middle, because you've got Torreira, Xhaka, Guendouzi and Ceballos now. That's four. People can argue on Nene, but at the end of the day, on Nene's fifth choice. Khedira would come in and be about fifth choice. I just don't see the value in bringing him in, honestly. Whether it's mentally for the rest of the team, whether it's as backup for depth, I just don't believe he's fit for the league at this age. I don't believe he has the mental drive right now to give us what we need as Arsenal fans and at Arsenal Football Club. But everyone seems to be talking about Khedira potentially. I just hope not. I just hope we get Nicolas Pepe over the line. I hope Kieran Tierney's over the line in the next few days. And I hope a centre-back. But I just don't want to go and spend money on a centre-back that's fourth, fifth choice at their club, that's not wanted no more, and then regret it in a few years. Do you know what I mean? I know everyone's going to say, so what do you want, a loan? It's hard to please me right now. But at the end of the day, I want a centre-back that, like the RB Leipzig, one of them two, Konate or Upamecano, one of them two would be perfect for our club. But I just don't believe we're going to have the money to eventually go out and, on top of Pepe, on top of Tierney, go and buy a proper centre-back to come in and improve us over the next few years. Not someone to come in and just do a job or fill in the gap while we really sort it out. It's better we don't do that. It's better we kind of hold back on panicking, panic signings at the back, because it's the panic signings that in the end we look back on and think we shouldn't have fucking done that. We shouldn't have done that. So with Rugani, no. With Khedira, no. Nicolas Pepe and Tierney, let's focus on getting them over the line, and then let's get them over the line by Wednesday, and then give us maybe a week and a half to really go for a centre-back, to really narrow down on maybe a better option with more potential, more experience, more reward. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to go for the risky ones now. I want to go for the ones with more reward long term. So let's see what we do. Like I said, the aura is a bit different now. We're being linked to other names. It's been a bit of a change, refreshing change. And I just want to end the video with, as much as this change is welcome, as much as I'm happy being linked to Nicolas Pepe, and as much as I'm happy to hear Kieran Tierney might finally be over the line, because we've heard that every week for the past 5 weeks. What we got to understand is the spending and this transfer window. If we was to get Nicolas Pepe, Kieran Tierney, and potentially their centre-back or not, I'd be happy with the window, especially considering we didn't get Champions League. Definitely happy with the window. But the whole Kroenke out movement, my whole beef with the Kroenkes, Josh Stan, doesn't just come down to money and money spent. It comes down to organisation, planning, structure. It seems like they've got a structure they're happy with now. It did seem like that last year with Sven in there, but halfway through the year that unravelled. So they brought the structure in place now. It looks like we're getting some solid players in. And if we do, then it's about observing now. It's about seeing how the season pans out. It's about seeing if these changes have finally beared fruit, to see if they work, to see if they've changed anything. Because right now, moving into this summer, we were still as laboured and as slow and as sketchy as we've always been in the summer transfer window. We're never dominant, we're never proactive. So that's something we need to see next summer. We need to see the things done early. We need to see areas highlighted early. And the fact that we're still scrimping and saving in this transfer window, because believe me, we are. The fact that we're doing all these add-ons and this and that and constant negotiation with all these players for however many weeks is because we are being tight. We just don't want to go out and just splash and just pay the few million extra to get it done. Now, long term, that will bode better for us, but it could collapse a few deals for us right now. Ancelotti did come out and say he's not disappointed with Pepe because they've got other options on board, which kind of highlights that Arsenal are probably front runners for it. And with Kieran Tierney, he said they've got 2 good left backs. So luckily, it looks like we're not going to be gazumped by Napoli for them. But at the end of the day, the longer you take for transfers, the more opportunity you give other clubs to come in for him. And at the end of the day, let's just give an example. If Man United were to sell a Pogba or sell a Sanchez in the next few days, then who's to say they're not going to come in for a Nicolas Pepe? Why not? Because when you look at it, if I'm another club and I'm looking at Arsenal, they've got a bid accepted, for Pepe. Surely we can get him too, because that's how we've been run over the last few years, over the last decade. If Arsenal can buy the player, these clubs that are actually moved like big clubs can definitely go in for him. So my thing with the whole speed of the transfers is just get it over the line as soon as possible. And yeah, I'm actually feeling a bit more optimistic now, But we'll see. By the end of this week, we'll see. I'm hoping that 10 minutes after this video comes out, Nicolas Pepe gets announced and I can do a welcome to Arsenal Nicolas Pepe or a welcome to Arsenal Kieran Tierney, and we move. But take it as it comes. We move slow, patient, analyse situations, and when it's done, then get gassed. But until then, Arsenal, just get this shit over the line. And to all you subscribers, to everyone viewing right now, my Instagram is Turkish LDN, my Twitter is Turkish LDN. Make sure you follow them. DMs, show love, feedback, comments, all of that. I do go through them from time to time. This video, like, share, subscribe, retweet, do all of that stuff. And love for all of the support so far, because I'm nearing 17, let's say 20k, and I just don't know why. But I'm gonna keep giving it to you as it is. I'm gonna try and improve the layout. I've been looking at Steve Howson's channel. His channel's excellent. The presentation is excellent. It looks like I'm watching Sky Sports or BT Sport. It's beautiful. So that's someone I'm looking at as some inspiration, because that's how I want my channel to look, and that's how I will make it look, trust me. And that's for you guys. That's all for you guys, because this time last year I didn't think any of this was possible. But I appreciate it. Love people, and let me know what you think in the comments below.